and welcome to the 5 o'clock West Hart News. I'm Mika Engman.
And I'm Robin Chaperon.
And we are coming to you live from West Hart, Alberta. We have some really exciting breaking news for you today.
Yes, there's been a new movement in the education system to include all students regardless of their diverse abilities and learning needs.
What? That's preposterous.
Yeah, those were my words exactly when I heard the news.
How can teachers use all of their time effectively? Wouldn't it monopolize their time to modify curriculum, make classroom adaptations and assessment accommodations for each individual student?
Yeah, definitely. And will the gifted students receive the attention they need while the teacher is babysitting the others?
Yeah, not only providing enough attention, but also supplying the gifted students with adequate challenges to further their academic development.
There is a possibility that all students, regardless of their academic abilities, will not receive the support they need.
And what about the students coming from different countries? How can they fare in an inclusive classroom if they don't even speak the language?
Yeah, it seems to me that inclusive classrooms present a lot of challenges. At this point, I feel the negatives outweigh the positives.
It sure does seem that way, Robin. It sure does seem that way. Well, good thing we have the inside scoop from West Hart Elementary School. Miss Goodbody, will you fill us in?
Hi Calgary, you're here with Regina Phalange, and I'm reporting live from West Hart Elementary. Next to me here is Miss Goodbody.
Hi, Miss Goodbody.
So Miss Goodbody, I hear this crazy rumor going around that you have started an inclusive classroom. Can you tell me what inclusive education really means?
You look horrified.
I am. It sounds outrageous.
Yes, so inclusive education, as you know in the past, we've had students with exceptionalities. Exceptionalities meaning any student that's at risk or has a learning disability, cognitive disability, physical disability. We've had them segregated from the mainstream classroom. And in recent years, since just the last couple years actually, it began just prior to 1970 here, we've began to include these students in the classroom, and that's what we mean by inclusive education.
Okay, so why is it important to have exceptional students in your inclusive classroom?
Well, although there do seem to be a lot of challenges and maybe a lot of negatives as well, there are a lot of positives. As you can imagine, these students in segregated settings aren't getting the social and leisure skills they require to succeed in adult life, because these skills are really key to success in academia and professional adult life. So having them in the mainstream classroom, they're learning these skills, and we're also able to educate the other students that reduce their fear of differences, and you'd be surprised how much they help the students with exceptionalities.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, well, Ms. Goodbody, it sounds like you have a wide range of diverse students in your classroom, and I couldn't imagine teaching all of them. How do you meet the learning needs of all of your different students?
It is a very cumbersome task. It's true. It's very difficult, but effective educators, when they signed up for the job, they knew what they were getting themselves into, and this is the way that education is heading. So I use an approach called differentiated instruction and universal design for learning, and I ask questions on every end of the Bloom's taxonomy.
Okay. Well, there's also assessment, which I know is a large part of education, yes, and it must be hard to assess all of them.
Oh gosh, you have no idea.
I was wondering, how do you assess students with diverse needs and fairly and ethically?
Yeah, well, what I was saying about universal design for learning, it's all about giving the students multiple means of representation, enjoyment, and expression. So I let the students take on whatever form of expression they like to represent and show me the learning they have acquired. It is difficult, but in creating the rubrics, I do it with the students. I allow them to help me create these rubrics, and I clearly state the targets, and I reiterate this to them throughout the assignment.
Okay, so does this mean that they could present their knowledge in a video or?
Yes. In fact,
essay?
students that struggle with written expression, for example, I have a student in my class who is dyslexic. He struggles with getting his ideas down into writing and reading, so I allow him to do an oral test or to do a video presentation. To me, it's all about bringing the curriculum to the student and not the student to the curriculum. So while I was going through school up in Calgary here, actually I went to school here in Calgary at Mount Royal University, one of my professors, she taught me about the ADAPT strategy. And you see the ADAPT is an acronym. And A stands for Accounts for Student Strengths and Needs. So it's all about getting to know your students, what they're good at, what they suck at, and understanding D, the demands of the classroom, what needs to be expected of them. Making adaptations and accommodations. For example, that little boy that struggles with reading and writing, I might give him some sort of an assistive technology or a scribe to get his thoughts down onto paper, if that is one of the expectations in the classroom. P is perspectives and consequences. Basically, you need to really expect the same thing of these students with exceptionalities as you would students without, just through modifying curriculum, of course. And lastly, T, teach and assess to match. So the way that you're teaching, you need to be also assessing.
Okay, wow. That's very helpful.
Yeah.
And so I have just one more question for you.
Yeah, please.
How do you create clear learning targets and communicate them to your students?
Right, so it's important that you, well, in my classroom anyways, I create the rubrics with the students. Once I have communicated to them what kind of a project we're doing, we will look over expectations, what they want to do, what I want to do, and create rubrics. Then I reiterate these instructions and the clear targets to the students on multiple occasions, and just make sure that I've really made it clear to them what is expected of them.
Okay, well, thank you for talking to me about this and clearing some of the
Filthy air.
Yeah. I believe in inclusion a little bit more now.
Oh,
so.
good. I'm glad. Come back anytime.
I will. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, Calgary. This is Regina Phalange.
And Miss Goodbody.
And if you're wondering about inclusive education,
I'm the lady to see.
Stay classy, Calgary. Thank you, Miss Goodbody. Wow, she really has found a good way to make inclusion work.
Yes, maybe inclusion does have a place in the elementary classroom.
Yeah, but I'm still unsure of how she could make it work for students that are English language learners.
Miss Goodbody, do you have any suggestions for teachers that have ELLs in their classroom?
Hi and welcome. I am Parjeet Fignuden and this is Paige Goodbody. We are here at West Hart Elementary School and I'm here to ask Paige Goodbody some questions about how she incorporates English language learners in her inclusive classroom. First of all, Miss Goodbody,
Yes.
how would you assess the level of an English language learner's language proficiency?
You know what? It's really hard, but Learn Alberta has set up some wonderful proficiency benchmarks on their website that teachers in the area or actually all over the world, the web is international, can access and assess where their students are. They break it up into listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And they break it up into 5 levels. There's beginning, developing, expanding, bridging, and extending. And they give you examples, and it's very helpful, and it allows you to better, know where they are and help them.
Yes, that sounds very specific. It sounds like you can really pinpoint where a student is at in many different aspects of their language
Exactly,
proficiency.
and a student that is beginning in their reading may fool you really in that they might be bridging in their speaking, because sometimes they're better at speaking, communicating than they are in their academic languages.
Okay, interesting. Very good. Once you do know the level of the student, how could you modify your assessments to meet their needs?
Well, you want to give them multiple means of representation to express their learning. It's important to remember that these students aren't stupid. They come from somewhere overseas possibly, or even across the border, where they were speaking a different language, but they have learnt and acquired knowledge in that language. So it's not about altering the content, but altering the way that you present it to them.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now, once you do know where they are and you have assessed them in a different way, how could you elevate the students' language proficiency?
Once again, the Learn Alberta website is fantastic for looking ahead, seeing what skills and knowledge they need to acquire, and being able to plan activities, beneficial activities for that. It's important that these students are getting authentic interaction with their peers, with their instructors, and that you're giving them real usage, not just regurgitation of the language.
Of course, definitely not. You wouldn't want them to just simply repeat memorized phrases. That wouldn't be learning the
That's a mistake that a
language.
lot of teachers are making.
Yes, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, and then in closing, do you have any tips or tricks for teachers that do have ELLs in their classrooms?
Oh yes, I'll tell you what, it's really important to pre-teach vocabulary words.
Oh yes.
If you're going to be using a vocabulary word on a test or anything like that, you want to make sure they understand it. You also want to make assessment instructions very clear and simple, and put them in an area where the students can refer to them on an ongoing basis.
That does seem like it would help.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Paige Goodbody.
Thanks. Yeah.
This is Parjeet Fig Newton signing out.
Thanks, Parjeet.
Wow, thanks again, Ms. Goodbody. That was so informative. So it is possible to teach and assess a diverse group of students fairly and ethically. By adapting, differentiating, and modifying as necessary, you can bring the curriculum to each student. Then you can assess each student in a way that they can best express their learning.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, Mika, but I'm convinced. Obviously, it is possible to give a fair and ethical assessment of a diverse group of students, including English language learners.
Absolutely, Robin. Absolutely. Well, we sure have learned a lot today.
We have.
Thanks for tuning in.
Stay classy, Calgary.
Whew.
Sorry?
Thank you for tuning in to the West Heart News, 5 o'clock is the time. Teachers that have L's in their classroom, losers! And the way that they can best express.
That's a good pungent one.
I'm sorry,
And I am at...
Let me finish my opening!
Hi, Calgary. Thanks for tuning in.
Sorry, segregated setting.
Do you need a drink? Are you thirsty?
Regina, actually, can I call you Regina?
That's my name.
Setting. These kids, you can surprise how much these kids in our education as becoming a teacher.
You're meeting the learning needs of all of your students. They all sound so different, and you just use one lesson plan. Here is Miss Goodbody.
Hi, I'm Miss Goodbody. I have a good body.
Good one.
Hi. Oh God, I'm not supposed to have a good body at the New Heart West School.
Good try. West New. So, what's your name?
Tabitha Fig Newton.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Bridget. Yeah, like.
Hello and welcome.
I am Parjeet Fignu. Oh, speaking about LOLs.